most unusual knockouts of all time. The mixed martial arts movement, popularly known as the MMA, is a full-contact combat sport for females. Each gender is allowed to get into the ring with their counterparts while they struggle to overpower one another with different techniques from all around the world. It was created to be a showcase of different martial arts between opponents, but somewhat making the game more engaging and interesting. The movement was officially accepted as a sport in 1993 when the UFC was established, and since then, the world has seen talented fighters enter the cage and come out victorious. In today's video, we'll be looking at the most unusual knockouts in the history of MMA. Hey there, welcome to the channel. If you're enjoying this video, like it and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can get notifications in the future. Throughout the history of the MMA, there have been outstanding performances from fighters like Anderson Silva, Israel Adesanya, and others. These performances are what attract people to the beauty of the game that is mixed martial arts. However, in this game, there are rules, and not every type of move is acceptable according to standards. So before we delve into the knockouts, let's talk about a few of these rules. 1. Headers are not allowed. In MMA, headbutts are not allowed, no matter how critical the situation is. If a fighter butts his head against any part of his opponent's body deliberately, he's disqualified. This is because this action often leads to unfair, lazy, bloody combat that will be won not as a result of efforts or technique, but just based on sheer luck. Punches, kicks, and all others are accepted in their stead because they're more calculated and engaging than lazy headbutts. 2. No grabbing of the opponent's fingers is allowed. According to the rules of the game, there shouldn't be a time when one opponent grabs the fingers of the other for any reason. Whoever does this will be disqualified without questioning. 3. Fighters aren't allowed to pinch, scratch, or pull hair. This game's supposed to be a wrestling match, so it makes no sense to pull at each other's hair because that's firstly painful and inhumane on the part of the perpetrator. Fighters are also not allowed to poke fingers into each other's eyes. That's seen as an easy way out used in place of investing in top-notch techniques. 4. Fighters are not allowed to kick or knee their opponents who are on the ground. This rule exists for many reasons. One of them is that the person that's been hit down might be unconscious, and hitting them while on the ground can lead to complications that the organization is not prepared for. The person might get health complications or even worse, die from the attack. So when a player is hit down, the referee steps in to protect them from their opponent to avoid future issues. 5. Hits are not allowed in certain areas of the body. In MMA, there are certain areas of the body that opponents are not allowed to hit. For example, no player is allowed to kick an opponent's liver. They're also forbidden from hitting the back of their opponent's head, neck, throat, spine, or intimate parts such as the groin. The authorities understand that these parts are sensitive and weak and should be treated with the utmost care, so they uphold this rule more strictly than others. Now, with these rules in mind, we'll be looking at the top 10 most unusual knockouts in the history of this great sport. First on this list is none other than Back-to-Back Ulu's fight with Vladimir Rudak. In this game, Back-to-Back used the soccer kick to knock his opponent unconscious, taking his place as Octagon's new heavyweight champion. The soccer kick is a type of move performed by a fighter who's standing, kneeling, or in a semi-standing position against his opponent. In the past, it's been banned in MMA because of the great damage it's said to do to the body of fighters it's used against. However, many fighters and fans endorse the act. Because of the time bias concerning this move, many fighting championships allow it in their rings in cases where it's not extreme. In 2016, Alfie Davis got into the ring with Nick Baker and knocked him out. With a swift and calculated move, Alfie swung his leg up and let it land on the head of Nick, his opponent, causing him to fall into unconsciousness. A technique known as the axe kick was what brought about Alfie's victory that year. The axe kick, also known as the hammer kick, is a type of kick performed by a fighter where they raise their leg upwards and move it down quickly on their opponent, like a blade of an axe. This move isn't normally one to lead to a knockout in the ring, but when done with accuracy and precision, it can be highly effective against the fighter's opponent. The third knockout was performed by Steve Walker in his fight against 33-year-old Brian Coletti using a technique known as tornado kick. The tornado kick is mostly used by fighters like Israel Adesanya and Michael Page to take out their opponents in difficult matches. A tornado kick is a jump kick move that requires a rotation of about 540 degrees from the performer. It's used in various sports such as Taekwondo, Karate, and Shaolin Quan. The same leg which is used to take off is used to kick and land, while the other leg is used to push the performer into the air. Many fighters have been disqualified as a result of these rules set by the MMA against the destructive techniques. An example of this is John Jones' disqualification from his match against Matt Hamill. Even though John knocked his opponent out completely, Matt won the match by disqualification. The fifth most unusual knockout on this list is Israel Adesanya's fight against Derek Brunson. In the match, the Nigerian New Zealander used the legendary question mark kick multiple times to knock his opponent out. The question mark kick, also used by fighters like Alexander Illich, is an advanced Muay Thai technique that requires speed and a good level of deception. It's done by swiftly redirecting your leg midway into a kick in a bid to hit your opponent's chin. It has the power to knock people out if done properly. Next on the list is Chris Barnett's knockout of Jean Vellante during UFC 268. In this match, the American fighter used technique known as the roundhouse kick. The roundhouse kick is an attacking move done by fighters where they move their legs sideways in a circular motion in a bid to kick their opponent's side with the front of their leg. It can also be done as a 360-degree kick where the fighter does a full circle with their leg before striking. The seventh on the list is Steven Peterson's knockout of Martin Bravo on September 21, 2019. Using the spinning back fist, Steven Peterson defeated his opponent in one of the craziest matches that the UFC's ever seen. A spinning back fist is an attack where the fighter swings his 360 degrees before landing a punch on their opponent in a bid to add some momentum to the attack. To wrap this list up without Luis Gonzalez's hilarious knockout will be unjust. In March 2022, Luis Gonzalez, a Mexican fighter, mistakenly knocked the referee out during a match against Louis Byrne using a technique known as the Rolling Thunder. He ended up losing the fight, but everyone can attest to the fact that it was a really clean strike. A Rolling Thunder is a kind of kick where the fighter springs up into the air to do a forward roll toward an opponent in a bid to attack and knock them out. It must be done carefully and with precision to avoid brutal damage. The MMA knockouts are usually the wildest, and I hope you enjoyed these ones. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, click on the bell beside the subscription box so that you can get notifications whenever we upload new content.